As I'm joined by my good friend Rotem Sivan, I think it's a beautiful moment to talk about 5 music theory concepts that are so much fun to use on a guitar, and I think they are concepts that every guitarist should know. So I want to start with the first one. It's called a secondary dominant. And it's used all the time in all styles of music, and today we're going to show you one example. So let's say we're playing 2 chords, G major. Follow it by E minor.
Sounds good.
Pretty basic.
Maybe you can lead to that chord.
Exactly. And that's where the secondary dominant comes in. We use the secondary dominant to lead us to a chord we use all the time, found in the key, but it's a chord that's a little bit weird in that key. So let's say we're playing in the key of G major and you want to go to the 2, the 3, the 4, the 5 or the 6 chord. You can go there via a secondary dominant, which is just the 5 chord of the chord you're going to. So let's say you want to go from G to A minor. You can add an E7 in between. From G to B minor, you add an F sharp 7 in between. From G to C, you add a G7th. From G to D, you simply add an A7. And from G to E minor, you add a B7. All these lovely colors.
Yeah.
So we lead the dominant chord to the E minor chord. And the dominant from E minor is B7. You simply count up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Nice.
And you play the dominant chord. So dominant means 7th chord, B7th. So and then if you put it together, you get this.
Do you know any song by chance that has this? Because I feel like I know a song, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
There is something, right?
Well, one that is very close is, I will play it for you, listen. Secondary dominant. We play G major and very sharp F sharp minor, and on B7 to E minor.
Nice.
Secondary dominant to the 6th chord. So it's called a secondary dominant because it's not the primary dominant. Because in the key of G major, the dominant chord, of course, is D7. But that's so boring. No. Secondary dominant is so much better.
Nice.
All right, next up. I think I want to hear you play 2 chords, a D chord and a G chord. Show me.
Yeah.
Yeah, how does it sound? This has been done. Stop it. We need we need something else. We're going to use inversions to spice this up.
What is inversions?
Yeah, an inversion is where you grab one note of the chord and put it as a bass note other than the root note. So in D, usually you would play the D as lowest note. No, why? No one tells you to do that. Just switch it up, it's fun. We can use, for example, the F sharp over here. And then play the D on top.
Nice.
And if you play that same chord progression you just played, you get...
Yeah. That's beautiful.
A over C sharp, also an inversion. And it's so cool to be free with these inversions. You can just throw them in whenever because usually you're not really disturbing the progression. You're using just notes from the chords. It's the same world but a different view on it really. It's just a different sauce, different flavor.
It's beautiful.
It's really cool. So try it out. And also the next thing, because I think you are the perfect candidate to talk about extensions.
Extensions. Yeah, that's something I love. I mean, I think people sometimes are scared from that word extensions, and all it means is just an added color. So if you have a chord, for example, this C shape that we all know, you just add this sound. And this is a C9.
Added color, I like that actually.
Yeah, that's all it is.
It sounds less frightening than extensions.
And you can have the open string here as well, so you get this kind of like lushy sound.
So extensions, we add notes to chords.
Correct.
And the chord name gets longer and longer, and that's where jazz came from?
Totally. And the numbers are basically just the scale. So if you're in C, for example, so C would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's it. So the 9 is basically the D note, and I'm just putting it on the top because it's nice.
So if I say 11, is that the 11th note?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 11 is basically 4, right? So I can play C11 or C sus4. This is what we're talking about. So get the 4 on top. And all these sounds can be adjusted. So I can basically play a C major and adjust that to C major 7 using this beautiful shell chord. So this is C major 7 and just put 9 on top in the same way. And then maybe I'll add the open string. So
nice.
Yeah,
that's
simple
beautiful
but effective, right?
Yeah.
In jazz, we oftentimes have a 2-5-1 progression. So D minor 7 9, the 2, and then flat 2, D flat 7 9.
This is the tritone sub, right?
Exactly.
Oh.
And then C major 7 9. That's it. But it sounds really cool. And in jazz, you see these kind of numbers oftentimes. D minor 7 9, you know, D flat 7 9, C major 7 9. So all it means is these basically beautiful, beautiful extensions or kind of like added colors.
Yeah, it's very pretty. That is beautiful. One concept I want to discuss further is the use of pedal notes.
Yeah.
So pedal notes, it comes from an organ where organists played with their pedals, and it's a note that just keeps on ringing through every chord. And on guitar, it's the coolest thing. In a pop sense, you almost all the time hear like this. For example, you can play on the G string fret 9 and go down via the E major scale and keep the top 2 strings open.
Yeah. So beautiful.
Works so good in E major, but also like you can play a D major chord and have the 2.
Yeah.
And you can find lots of extensions on the chords,
Totally.
nice little colors that sound different on every chord because the notes stay the same. Pedal notes.
Yeah, I mean, an example for that, if you wanted to even add a strum, I'm just thinking like... Like the top notes are just ringing and I'm kind of like strumming it, and you have the same kind of minor and major tries in the lower strings, and it's so beautiful with guitar. You can keep going your chord.
Very pretty. Yeah, pedal notes. Cool. You can also use them in the bass, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think in jazz they do that a lot, where you have kind of keep the bass motion and the top note change. So you have this motion, right? So for example, this is C in the bass with D major on top, then D flat, and C. You can also do it with an open string, with D major.
Yeah. Oh, it reminds me of Pink Floyd. They did.
Totally.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah.
Nice.
Etc. I love these concepts. And before we go to the last one, which is my absolute favorite, I want you to know that after years and years of teaching one-on-one lessons, I realized that every guitarist wanting to hit that intermediate level benefited most from a clear, laid out roadmap that told them what to learn and how to do it. And that's why I developed Next Level Playing. Inside you learn everything that a guitarist should know to get good, from the pentatonics to triads and from chords to scales, and how pro guitarists use them, and how ultimately you learn that all these things are connected. And this is the only way to really unlock the fretboard, so you can freely craft and improvise the most beautiful melodic solos, all by yourself. Check it out at nextlevelplaying.com. Thank you so much. Back to the video. Next up, borrowed chords.
Hard chords.
Borrowed chords are the best to create excitement.
What do you mean? Yeah.
Let's say we're playing in the key of C major.
Yeah.
And now typically we find chords of the key center of C major in a song. One great example, C, G, A minor, F.
Yeah.
You know, the 4 chords we all know, we all love. Those are chords typically found in the key of C major. And to be more precise, C, D minor, E minor, F, G major, A minor, B diminished, and C. Those are chords found in the key of C major. And if we borrow chords, it is such a good thing to borrow chords from C minor.
Yeah, I mean, a great example would be...
So what are you doing? What's this?
Well, basically, I'm using 2 devices that we talked about. So I used C major 7, and then I used a secondary dominant going to the 4, and then I used the 4 minor. And the 4 minor is what we're talking about. So the 4 minor is basically a borrowed chord from the minor center. So in C minor, we have an F minor, which is the 4 chord, but in C major, we have F major. So this is kind of like a mix of those 2 colors where we get C major, secondary dominant leading to the 4, and then a 4 minor. And I did 4 minor 6 just.
Yeah. Almost a B flat.
Totally. B flat 7. Yeah. Those are
very similar. Yeah. It's funny because if you borrow chords, you get interesting sounds, and that people will often hear in their favorite chord progressions. For example. Secondary dominant, by the way. And now we're gonna borrow a chord from the key of C minor. Or E flat, D7.
Yeah.
Major. So that E flat is just the 6 chords from G minor instead of from G major. And you see that a lot.
Yeah, so basically when you're playing the E flat in G major tonality, it's the flat 6 in a major key, or it's the 6 in a minor key. So if we're indeed in G major, it's kind of like flat 6, flat 7, 1, which is a beautiful, strong progression. Yeah, super like heroic.
It's the Mario ending, right?
Totally.
That's great. So lots of cool things to play around with. 5 different fun musical theory concepts. Dive into these concepts, and I'm sure you'll be a more creative musician, and you'll have more fun on the guitar. Rotem, thanks, my friend.
Thank you.
Check him out. All the links are below, and great musician.
Thanks, bro.
Ciao.
Peace.